Well, now that we have totally made a mess of things, so we're going to plant the hydrangea today, but before we do that, we have to move all of the sod and cryptomeria out of our way first. So hopefully I explain it well enough in this video on why we are planting the hydrangeas, where we are planting the hydrangeas. I think our minds have changed about 3 to 5 times since the making of this video. This video was done back in January, those crazy 8 days where we just went full force and tried to transplant everything we had brought with us from the old place just to get them in the ground before it froze. But while I filmed me trying to explain why we were doing what we were doing, the sun streak was coming across this video and I didn't know it. I do explain later, but I'm not exactly showing you, so hopefully you all can figure it out. So we have decided that we are replacing these locusts. They are too tall and they are getting into the telephone and power lines. And we don't want to have to hire somebody to cut them back all the time. So we are going to be removing these. They're too tall. What we're planting in its place yet, I'm not sure. But whatever we do plant in its place, we are going to plant about a foot or two to the right of where the current tree is. So our first hydrangea is going to start roughly 3 feet of that orange line, and it's not a straight line, it kind of curves. Can't see it very well until you get to, but it kind of comes in right here. So we have to make sure that we're at least 2 feet from the line this way as well, which is making it a little bit tricky. So I think if I start on the line right here, we go 3 feet from that. So 1, 2, 3, right where my feet are, right here this way. And then this is 1, 2, 3, 4 feet this way. Oh my goodness. My husband and I were just lamenting about all of the wires everywhere in this yard. They're along this side. They come literally through the middle and cut through here. And then the gas comes along the front border over there. And they're all along this back fence here. So when we remove the arborvitae, we are going to have to build up dirt, like a little bit of a berm, to plant these trees, because we are not going to be able to pull these out and grind up the stumps. We'll just have to cut them off at the bottom. Well, while he's digging that, I gotta go move the water. I am just making sure that these new trees that we've planted this last week are getting enough water, because surprisingly it hasn't rained in over a week, and these are newly transplanted. So just moving the hose and letting it soak on each, letting the water soak for at least 10 minutes. Well, first one done, and it's gonna look weird until these trees get down and we plant something else, because it's not gonna look even. Removing out a cryptomeria stump, and my husband was explaining that it wasn't very well rooted in. It was pretty easy to take out the stump, which means that the cryptomeria was not very healthy. And it's true, because if you go over and look at it, this one here didn't look good at all. It was not very healthy. Second one's in, just got to put the dirt in around it. Working on the third one. This whole time we thought we only had one neighbor behind us. It turns out we have 2. Because I don't know if you can see back there the fences. We thought it was strange that they had the slats only so far and not the rest of it. But now I know why, because it's a completely different neighbor. It's different fence, different yard. So we have two neighbors behind us. Normally we don't have to water in the winter because it rains often enough, but it hasn't rained in about a week, and good thing is it's allowed us to plant a lot of our plants before the big freeze that is coming this weekend, I think. You're going to see my husband doing all of the shoveling in this one again. The dirt is really kind of hard here. Once you go through that first layer right there, the dirt was too hard for me to get the shovel in any deeper. And between the wires from all directions and the tree roots, we didn't want to use the auger for fear that we would either destroy some sort of wiring or hurt the tree. So I don't know why we were worried about doing hurting the tree when we were planning on taking the tree down. But anyway, I'm looking out and my husband is doing all the shoveling. We are on number 5. Yeah, that looks good, right? That. I'm measuring the distance from the tree to where we plant the hydrangea, and I did this with every tree so that the first hydrangea to the right of the tree was exactly in the same distance from the tree. Right here.
Okay. Mark it with your foot. Give it a scrape. Okay. Come in a minute. This is your mark, right?
Yep. That's my mark. This one was number 6. Now on to the next one.
Yep.
That's actually almost perfect. And that was number 7. This angle makes me look tall. Ha. Okay, so that was number 7. We've got one more hydrangea to plant. However, we're tired of planting hydrangeas. We will do that one tomorrow morning because we have to move some sod out of the way before we plant that one. So I think now we're going to go back up front to the roses and add a little bit more soil and maybe some mulch tonight. After adding dirt to the roses last night, we were so tired that we called it a day. And this is the next morning, and my husband is out here bright and early. He dug the hole for the last hydrangea already. These hydrangeas are so heavy because the dirt that they were in at our old place is red clay, and it just latches onto the roots like it's cement. It's really heavy. Well, number 8 is in. Well, we have our 8 hydrangeas in. I know some of you who have OCD, like I do a little bit, it's going to drive you nuts that there are 2 on the right side of each section and nothing on the left. But we will be taking out these trees and planting something else right in the middle here so that the sections are each going to move from down to the right. We have a couple extras in case a couple don't make it, but I'm a little bit worried that any of them will make it because I'm not sure they're going to get enough sun back here. These are panicle hydrangeas and they kind of like full sun. So hopefully they may not be a permanent fixture after all this is said and done. Thank you for watching, and until next time, feed the pollinators for me.